Our story kicks off with a heart-pounding scene where a suspicious gang gathers in front of a mysterious door. But the moment their leader cracks it open, they are paralyzed by pure horror. Because inside, the room is absolutely drenched in blood, scattered with human remains like gouged-out eyes, scattered body parts, and in the center, a strange magical circle surrounded by ghostly figures performing an eerie ritual, leaving the two of them standing there unable to fully understand what kind of horror they have just stepped into. And yet, at the same time, the scene shifts toward our main hero, who is trapped inside a terrifying nightmare where he senses a massive disaster approaching, and he suddenly jolts awake in fear, sitting up and clutching his head while trying to steady his breathing, then reaching for a glass of water beside him, only to notice strange drawings nearby that look exactly like the symbols from his nightmare, because he himself had seen them in that dream moments ago. And while he stares at his phone in confusion, wondering what he is looking at, a violent wind suddenly bursts through the room, blowing the drawings into the air, forcing him to stand up in shock because the window was supposed to be tightly shut, and driven by confusion, he moves down the stairs of his house only to arrive at a place that mirrors the ritual site, with blood splattered everywhere and corpses on the floor missing their organs. And the ritualists turn in surprise as they notice the young man standing there, causing his heart to pound as he realizes that he is now in serious danger. So without thinking, he turns and runs, bursting into an apartment and slamming the door shut behind him, trembling in pure terror as he shouts at them to stay away or he will call the authorities. And after some time, the noise outside quiets down, making him wonder whether the enemies have left or are still lurking, but he decides he must call for help to be safe. And although the call connects, no one answers on the other end, and suddenly multiple hands appear gripping his window. And just as he is questioning whether someone is blocking the call, those hands shatter the glass and a horrifying monster reveals itself, hurling insults at him, causing him to scream in sheer panic. And in desperation, he grabs a chair and smashes it into the spider-shaped creature while yelling at it to get out. But the monster calmly strikes the chair away and tells him that resisting is pointless, making the fear crawl deeper into his chest, so he turns and runs again. Yet the monster chases him relentlessly, mocking him by saying that escape is impossible no matter what he does, until the hero slips through an iron door and locks it tightly, only for the creature to slam into it repeatedly, denting it badly and demanding that he come out. And as the hero looks around, he realizes with dread that the room has no exits except that single door, meaning there is nowhere to run and death feels unavoidable. But then, without warning, a voice speaks to him, asking calmly if he wants to live, which makes him ask who is speaking. And at that moment, a strange woman appears surrounded by smoke like a ghost, introducing herself as his mysterious system, leaving him confused as he asks whether she is some kind of evil ruler. But she dismisses the question and tells him her identity does not matter, then informs him that she will grant him a beginner's reward and hands him a treasure box, which opens instantly as she explains that 5 basic elements will emerge randomly from multiple worlds because he has successfully created his first monster. And as he stands there tense and unsure what to do, she explains that combining these elements will determine how powerful his monster becomes, and that he will also gain an additional skill, praising him as a rare genius, which only confuses him further as he tells her she is praising him too much. But at that exact moment, the door behind him is still being smashed and is close to breaking, making him suddenly remember the monster chasing him, and he wonders desperately whether he can really combine the elements in time, while the woman encourages him and assures him that he can, yet warns him that the combination must be done properly, explaining that just like you would never mix strawberry juice with coffee, he must choose elements that fit together, which annoys him slightly because he still does not know what he is supposed to do. But with no other choice, he begins moving the elements, forming a magical circle that erupts with intense light. And as he recites the required spell declaring that the monster created will be his loyal servant, a green glow flashes and a very sinister balloon-like creature forms, staring at him with curiosity, making him groan in disappointment as he complains that he never wanted a balloon monster. Yet the woman assures him that this creature is useful, and just then the door finally breaks apart as the spider monster bursts inside and declares that escape is over, causing the hero to explode in anger as he shouts and curses at it. And at the same time, the balloon monster floats forward to attack the spider, while the woman tells him that he is truly impressive and that his monster has a high rank, granting him the right to choose any skill he wants. So without hesitation, he chooses Absorption Aura and the Sound of Hell, and instantly a terrifying sound slams into the spider monster's face with overwhelming force, knocking it down as it cries out in confusion about what just happened, leaving the hero staring at his own hands in disbelief as he realizes that his power is far more incredible than he ever imagined. And in that same moment, the monster mutters that the hero has turned out to be something completely unexpected. Everything inside him is still racing when our hero looks at the strange woman and asks her if this really means he is one of the awakened ones. Yet there is no time to wait because the monster suddenly charges straight at him, shouting that the existence of an awakened person ruins all their plans and that he must be killed immediately. But at that exact moment, the balloon flies right in front of the creature and releases a terrifying sound that makes the monster freeze in shock as it stares and asks what that thing even is. And before it can react, the balloon wraps its string tightly around the monster's neck, making the hero quickly thank it and tell it to hold the creature in place. And without hesitation, he swings the hellish sound weapon through the air, igniting it as he leaps down with all his strength and slams it onto the monster, slicing it cleanly into two halves, causing the creature to scream violently before dying on the spot. And instantly a message appears telling the hero that he has successfully killed the monster, filling him with relief and joy as he realizes the immediate danger is finally gone, while the balloon circles around him happily. But the situation does not end there, because suddenly he hears horrifying screams and desperate cries for help echoing from outside, and he rushes to the window only to see an overwhelming number of monsters covering the city, countless spider-like creatures everywhere, trapping people in their webs, including a man begging for his life and pleading for mercy because he has children, while others hide in fear, and many more are caught like insects, hanging helplessly in the webs. And the hero, whose name is Lu, stands frozen in shock at the chaos unfolding below, wondering why the authorities have not appeared yet, until he remembers that someone was blocking his call earlier, meaning the forces might not even know what is happening. So he decides he cannot wait any longer, because if these monsters are not stopped, the entire city will be sacrificed to summon an evil ruler who could destroy the whole world in an instant. And in that moment, his balloon grabs a heavy object and pulls it down with brute force, making Lu realize that the balloon has now become a 2-star monster, prompting him to name her Ki and praise how incredible she is, knowing she can kill monsters purely through explosive power. And Kai spins joyfully in the air before focusing intensely as a dark circular energy forms around her, expanding rapidly until it surrounds Lu's building and even the nearby ones, and soon massive explosions erupt as time passes and spiders continue to swarm everywhere, while at the same time armed forces finally arrive and find themselves surrounded, opening fire with their guns and unleashing all their firepower. But suddenly, a strange attack explodes in the middle of the troops, forcing them to turn in panic and call out to their commander. And then, a massive spider appears, clearly different from the others, declaring itself the magician's servant of the evil ruler, causing the commander to shout orders for long-range attacks and allowing only 4th-rank awakened fighters to approach. And they attack using various elemental powers with their strongest strikes, yet the monster laughs as if the attacks mean nothing, leaving the commander stunned, as he realizes it has not even been scratched, while the troops admit they cannot defeat this thing no matter what they do, and wonder where General Li is because only he can save them. But the commander refuses to retreat and orders continuous attacks so the city does not fall. And although the forces obey and attack with everything they have, the giant monster mocks humanity as pitiful and prepares to strike back. But before it can move, Lu's voice suddenly rings out, warning the creature that it has crossed the line, forcing the monster to retreat and halt its attack. And when it looks up to see who spoke, it finds Lu standing confidently on top of a building with Ki and the sound of hell beside him, wearing his mask, calmly telling the monster that it is not even worthy of knowing his name and challenging it to come fight him, which enrages the servant as it demands how he dares speak so arrogantly to a ruler's servant. But Lu continues provoking it, calling it nothing more than a useless insect, causing the monster to roar in fury and order all the smaller spiders to kill Lu, and instantly the spiders swarm toward his building, covering it almost entirely, making the commander panic and shout for Lu to escape, yet Lu ignores the warning and orders Ki to activate absorption aura immediately, and a red ring forms around her, expanding suddenly and releasing wave after wave that wipes out all the spiders on the building, killing them instantly and even striking the ruler's servant, leaving the commander stunned as he realizes this is the power of a high-star monster, while the servant screams in pain and tries to flee, shouting that it cannot die yet. But Kai does not allow it to escape and attacks again, the red aura hitting the servant once more as it screams desperately that it cannot die, until the overwhelming power makes it explode completely, leaving the commander speechless at Lu's strength and declaring that since the boy helped them, he must be on their side, calling out to ask for his name. And Lu briefly considers revealing it to gain money and honor, but hesitates, fearing that such terrifying power, especially before fully awakening, would lead them to experiment on him. So he answers that he has no name and does not want one, calling himself a forgotten person before walking away, leaving the commander deep in thought as he wonders if Lu might be a legendary being from ancient times returned to life. And suddenly someone arrives asking if the situation is under control, shocking everyone as they realize it is General Li, who says he rushed over as soon as the signal reached him and asks whether the spiders escaped or were eliminated. And the commander reassures him that the spiders were completely wiped out, though not by them, prompting Li to look around at the countless spider corpses and understand what happened, remembering Lu's words about being forgotten, which makes the commander uneasy as Li explains that the power and manner of that person indicate a forbidden existence, possibly even stronger than the evil rulers themselves, shocking the commander, who asks if anyone could truly be stronger than the rulers, something that seems impossible. And the scene shifts back to Lu walking alongside Ki, reflecting on how strange the day has been, because just 30 minutes ago he was an ordinary person and now he is completely different, until he suddenly remembers the ritual of the villains and realizes he must act before the evil ruler is summoned, knowing many sacrifices were already made and the ritual might still be active. So he returns to the building where he first first saw the cultists. Walking through blood-soaked corridors until he finds the place, entering a room filled with mangled corpses and remains, with a magical circle in the center holding a strange object that looks like a spider egg. And as he observes the dead cultists around, he realizes he probably killed them earlier, then releases his hellish sound to burn the corpses until the room ignites and the bodies vanish. And as he approaches the egg, he notices several black orbs nearby, recognizing them as rare items often used to make protective bracelets. So he takes them knowing they are high quality and will sell for a high price. Then turns his attention back to the egg, sensing a strange smell and feeling it is more like a statue made of rare material. And suddenly, he asks the system if he can use extraction on it, receiving confirmation. And when he does, the statue breaks apart as a powerful golden light bursts out, making him cheer that extraction worked. But in the same moment, he feels something is wrong as the space around him begins to collapse, cracks spreading everywhere, filling him with fear as suddenly the entire space shatters like glass and he falls screaming, only to land painfully on a massive spider web, realizing the room was connected to another space entirely. And just then, a red light appears before him, drawing his attention to a skull floating nearby, revealing that this skull is something far more significant than it first appears. Everything suddenly turns heavier when the skull reveals itself as the true leader, standing right in front of our hero and clearly intending to attack him. And at the same time, Lu feels that something is terribly wrong, because a violent noise explodes inside his head, so intense that it feels like his brain is about to burst, forcing him to clutch his head tightly as strange bubbles appear across his body, and then spider-like limbs begin to grow out of his back as if a transformation has fully started. But before it can complete, a massive pair of scissors appears out of nowhere and slices those limbs clean off, stopping the transformation instantly. And Lu exhales in relief as the pain fades, while the system lady appears holding that same giant scissor and calmly explains that the aura of an evil ruler was detected, which automatically activated the protection system, leaving Lu stunned that the system interfered so directly. And as she moves the scissors again, she tells him he now has only 10 seconds before being expelled from this illusionary world, making Lu realize just how overwhelming the system's power truly is, since a single motion from her was enough to sever his connection with the evil ruler completely. And he smiles with satisfaction, quietly accepting that this is simply how things are now and that nothing will make him fear the future. Then he stretches out his hand and says that since he came all this way, he cannot leave without gaining something. And at that moment, a strange point appears on the ruler's head, followed by a portal opening in space, and Lu reaches into it, bids the ruler farewell in his own way, and is instantly expelled from the ruler's illusionary space, returning at once to the room he was in before, where Ki circles around him happily because he is still alive, allowing him to finally relax, knowing he succeeded, returned safely to his apartment, and even obtained an additional element as the system lady claps and congratulates him. And soon after, Lu receives a message stating that he has acquired a fragment of the Land of Dreams crafted by servants of the evil ruler, informing him that this fragment can be used once to confront an evil ruler directly, which makes him recall the word authority that was mentioned earlier. So he asks the system about it, and she explains that as his authority increases, he will receive random boxes that may contain rare elements, or may be completely empty, surprising him as he questions how a box could be empty at all. Then he asks about the spiderweb-like item, learning that it is the ruler's unbreakable net and also contains the ruler's own power, which amazes him as he realizes it is a 5-star ranked item. And he thinks to himself that if he gathers more resources like this, he could eventually create a legendary monster and maybe even reach the level of a ruler himself, laughing boldly at the thought. But his thinking is suddenly interrupted by loud knocking on the door, making him wonder who could be coming now. And the voice outside introduces herself as part of the protection forces, prompting Lu to quickly tell Ki to hide so no trouble starts. Then he opens the door to find a girl greeting him and introducing herself as Ning, asking whether he saw any monsters attack the building. And he notices she is holding a gun ready to fire at any moment. So he quickly tells her that he heard loud noises and pretended not to be home. And after sensing no remaining evil aura, Ning asks to briefly inspect the place, which he allows, explaining that the damage happened when a spider broke in, but the troops arrived and killed it immediately. And Ning tells him he is extremely lucky because everyone else whose apartments were invaded by spiders was killed. Then she reports that there is one survivor in the area, receiving thanks on the line, after which she starts complaining about her boss, only for Lu to cut her off and warn her not to continue because the line is still open and can hear her, at which point her boss yells at her to return to the office immediately, making Ning tear up and rush away, leaving Lu confused. And after closing the door, he sighs in relief, saying he is finally done dealing with her, though he soon feels like he forgot something important. And elsewhere, a girl on the street notices Lu's eye symbol drawing on the ground and decides to take it. As time passes, firefighters handle the blaze and the news reports victims and injuries, while Lu lies annoyed by the noise and tries to sleep, only for Ki to float close to his face and irritate him until he pushes her away. Then he wakes up, looks at the damaged wall, and mutters that he needs to fix it soon. And at the same time, the girl who took the drawing is still outside when Lu goes out searching for a repair shop, only for her to call out to him. And they greet each other as we learn her name is Tang, and he tells her his home was damaged and and needs repairs, while she checks on his health and invites him to eat breakfast together, which he accepts. And as they eat, he notices how unusually cheerful Tang is, finding it strange because she always seemed isolated despite being beautiful and admired at school, while he himself was always the quiet orphan at the back of the class who loved drawing but never showed his art to anyone. So he calms himself and tells himself not to dwell on the past, yet suddenly he senses something, stops, looks around sharply, and without explaining anything, he runs off, telling Tang he has something urgent to do, leaving her behind as she stares at his photo, wondering if she treated him badly, and that is why he left. Then she returns to her apartment embarrassed and says to herself that he must not discover her secret, turning on the lights to reveal countless framed photos of Lu all over her home, along with items she collected from him, covering nearly the entire apartment, after which she takes a blanket, covers her face, lies on the bed, and continues thinking about him in a strange, obsessive way. While elsewhere, Lu feels a sudden chill and looks around wondering if it got cold, then returns home saying someone will finally come to fix his broken wall soon. As Kai plays around until he asks her to calm down, then he opens the system to check his collected elements and finds a mutated spider egg saturated with ruler power, surprising him as he wonders where it came from, until he remembers killing female spiders earlier, calling the egg ugly as he takes it out and senses it is alive, so he calls the system, who explains that as long as it has not hatched, it still counts as an element, but once it hatches, it will no longer be usable, making him decide not to keep it too long. And when Kai says something that pleases him, he praises her and asks the system if the egg can be used to strengthen him, only to be told that his current authority does not allow it. So he decides to use fusion immediately, but when he tries to fuse the egg with another item, the fusion fails because the items contain power from two evil rulers who hate each other and refuse to unite, astonishing him that even rulers have conflicts. So the system tells him that once his level rises, he will be able to fuse even such opposing elements, and he swaps the egg with another element, successfully fusing them to create a 4-star void spider egg, realizing it will hatch into a terrifyingly powerful monster, and learning that hatching it may allow him to choose 2 skills, which excites him, but suddenly his body swells with excess energy, and he screams as dark waves burst from him, collapsing to the ground feeling like he is about to explode, until he realizes that unlike air in a balloon, this is excess energy that must be released, so he unleashes it using the hellish sound, sending massive red energy waves erupting from the building and shocking people outside who fear another disaster, after which Lu recovers, sensing his power has grown enormously, and the system advises him to reduce energy transfer because his body is weak, then asks which skills he wants, and he chooses Time Mark and Shadow Servant, gaining new power as a glowing circle appears on his hand, telling Ki to get ready because the spider will soon be her companion, only for Ning to knock again, questioning him about the disturbance, inspecting the room but finding nothing, apologizing and leaving after warning him to stay safe. And once she is gone, Lu celebrates briefly until he notices Ki is missing and finds her following Ning, angrily calling her back, after which time passes and Lu visits a pet shop, happily testing his Shadow Servant skill on a rabbit while imagining using it on criminals next, buying animals at a discount, feeling guilty when they die, summoning shadows from them, studying their glowing eyes, and preparing for even more dangerous experiments ahead. A strange sensation suddenly washes over him, something deeply unsettling, as letters begin floating around his vision, and he realizes it feels as if he has slipped into an illusion, and his body starts to lose balance while he falls screaming. But just before he can plunge any further, the system lady appears and firmly grabs his hand, stopping him mid-fall as she tells him she detected an abnormal existence in the area and chose to intervene to protect him. And in that same instant, the shadows launch themselves toward Lu, forcing the woman to conjure a blazing flame in her hand and strike the shadows head-on, making them shriek in pain and scatter away. And Lu thanks her sincerely, admitting that she has saved him once again, then explains that all he wanted was to feel the connection between himself and the servants, but instead encountered that strange presence which tried to drag him away and devour him. And she responds firmly, warning him not to act recklessly again and never try to approach such dangerous forces. Then Lu asks if there is some greater entity behind everything happening to him, and the woman falls silent for a moment before making it clear that his current level of authority does not allow her to reveal such truths, which Lu understands, realizing he is not yet qualified to know the real nature of this world. And when he wonders aloud whether he can now handle the servants properly, she confirms that he can and tells him he may act freely. But the moment he asks about the servants' power levels, they suddenly vanish, making him smile in relief as he notes how well they can hide themselves. Then he immediately orders the servants to attack, and 3 shadow figures form, their arms transforming into weapons as they strike from behind, forcing Lu to flick his finger and release a fiery sound blast that knocks several shadows down, while one absorbs the attack yet continues burning, prompting Lu to quickly cancel the fire, fearing the servants might actually kill him. Then he pulls back the shadow energy he gathered from animals and decides he must never use this skill recklessly again, noticing how even a small shadow can grow frighteningly large, and he orders the servants to move now and search the area for anything unusual, watching as they sink into the ground like liquid shadows, which makes him feel feel relieved that no one will easily uncover him. And afterward, he throws himself onto the bed, thinking that he must become stronger to protect himself because his current strength depends entirely on monsters. Understanding that real training is necessary and wishing he were a true awakened one who possessed proper knowledge or could use advanced awakening techniques. And as he recalls the team he fought earlier, he judges them as weak and low level, but the system lady intervenes and tells him he can search online to learn more about awakened ones, even though he doubts the reliability of online information. Yet she insists he try, and the scene shifts to a man browsing the internet, searching questions about awakened ones, only to find most answers useless, until he responds to one question that turns out to be about Lu himself. And he contacts Lu claiming to be an awakened one, willing to talk about monster hunting. But Lu senses something off and says he does not believe the man is awakened since he is not being invited into any forum. And the man replies that only second-level awakened ones can access such forums and full personal data is required, which makes Lu unwilling to reveal the truth. So he thinks about stealing an account and using someone else's information. And after some time, the man grows annoyed at Lu's silence until Lu replies, accusing him of being a scammer, enraging the man who slams his desk and vows to get back at him by sending an invitation card reserved only for awakened ones. But Lu mocks him, saying anyone could fake an invitation image, driving the man crazy enough to send the real invitation details and promise to delete them immediately. And Lu calmly collects all the information he needs, blocks the man, and leaves him cursing in frustration, after which Lu puts on his mask and goes to the location mentioned in the invitation, shocked to see that everyone there is masked and dressed strangely, making anonymity the norm, as people line up to hand over their tickets. And Lu notices even the guards are third-level awakened ones, so he releases his dark aura deliberately, stunning everyone as fear spreads through the crowd and all attention locks onto him, surprising even Lu at how quickly it happens. And he apologizes to the guards, claiming he lost his invitation, and sensing his overwhelming aura, they immediately allow him in, even letting him skip the line, telling him their leader will be pleased to meet him. And Lu walks through a glowing corridor into the night market, staring in awe at the bizarre elements being sold on the ground, realizing this is the true night market that not everyone can enter. And as he inspects the items, he overhears someone warning their friend about Lu's power, making him realize everyone already knows, though he wants to blend in more, until he notices a woman selling spiritual technique manuals, which he feels he may need. Yet he pretends disinterest by picking up corpse poison instead, listening as the seller explains its deadly properties and how even star-ranked monsters would be severely harmed by it. And while he praises the poison, he mentions its strong smell as a flaw, then casually asks for the manuals, shocking the seller, who wonders why someone so powerful needs books and asks if they are for his students, then demands spiritual currency for payment, leaving Lu stunned because he has no idea what that currency even is. And when he stays silent, the surrounding people mock him for being stingy or refusing to spend currency on books. But suddenly, a man wearing a monkey mask laughs loudly, revealing that everyone was easily fooled. And the atmosphere instantly turns tense as irritation spreads through the crowd. Confusion ripples through the crowd as people start questioning him, asking what he really means. And the man with the monkey mask points directly at Lu, declaring loudly that this boy is a fraud who is only pretending to be an awakened one like them, which shocks Lu into silence. But the monkey-masked man keeps going, claiming he will now expose the truth, and even saying that because of this deception, the guards should be punished, suggesting they cut off one of Lu's limbs or even kill him. And Lu finally speaks up, asking if this is supposed to be a threat. Yet the man replies coldly that it is not a threat, only the truth. But Lu's patience snaps and he releases his power, flooding the area with blinding light as black shadows erupt from his limbs and seize the monkey-masked man, lifting him into the air as he screams in terror, seeing Lu not as a human anymore, but as a true monster. And when Lu finally releases him, the man crashes to the ground trembling, while everyone around laughs mockingly at his humiliation. But the monkey-masked man staggers back up, cursing everyone, and then pointing at Lu, shouting that his older brother will never forgive this and will tear Lu apart. Yet in that very instant, his own arm is suddenly severed and falls to the ground, leaving him frozen in disbelief before collapsing to his knees as blood pours out and he screams in agony, while Lu stands beside a shadow holding a weapon and calmly tells him that such words are unacceptable and that punishment is deserved. And the crowd gathers around Lu in awe, calling him incredibly strong and brave, until someone pushes through demanding space, arriving with another person, and one of them remarks that this aura is the same terrifying aura felt at the entrance earlier, making the book-selling girl panic as she realizes the manuals she sells are only copies, and that Lu could easily take them for free if he wanted. Yet Lu jokes lightly, surprising her, then hands her an item and asks if that is enough as payment, causing her to light up with excitement because the item is spider venom sacs worth 100,000 spiritual currency, which shocks Lu, but he still tells her to keep it, while she refuses and insists he take it back and instead just give her 1 coin, though Lu has none at all. So he tells her to keep the sacs and that he will trade for other things later, which makes her nervous until he reassures her he means no harm, prompting her to introduce herself as Shu and give him a contact note, which he accepts despite despite finding it odd, and at the same time someone without a mask arrives demanding everyone step aside, causing Shu to panic and warn Lu that the Chu family has arrived, including Jiu, the brother of the monkey-masked man. And when Lu asks if the Chu family is powerful, Shu explains they are extremely strong, with Jiu and the family head both at star rank level 9, which surprises Lu because people consider level 9 overwhelmingly strong. Yet he does not hesitate and summons shadow warriors, 2 of which restrain Shu as she screams for him not to get involved. But Lu ignores her, and the monkey-masked man begs his brother to avenge him for losing his arm, only for Jiu to silence him and declare he already knows everything. Then he confronts Lu demanding how he dared touch a member of the Chu family, but Lu releases his dark aura shaped like a terrifying beast, terrifying Jiu so deeply that he rushes to his brother, grabs his head, and twists it violently, killing him instantly as the mask falls away. Then Jiu drops to his knees before Lu, saying he has killed his own brother in exchange for mercy for his family, which leaves Lu confused because this is not how things were supposed to go. Since he expected a fight, and seeing Lu still ready to battle, Jiu grows desperate and quickly offers a bag containing 10,000 spiritual coins, pleading that his family wants no trouble with the heir of the Shadow Cutter, which stuns Lu because Jiu has mistaken him for someone else, confusing shadow servants with Shadow Cutter. And after that, Jiu asks if they may leave, and Lu allows it, so Jiu retreats immediately with his followers, one of whom asks why he killed his own brother, and Jiu explains they would have faced disaster if they offended the heir of the Shadow Cutter, revealing that people like Lu possess skills to extract souls from corpses and turn them into shadow servants of terrifying power, adding that such individuals belong to the Crimson Hand, an organization with missions to assassinate Morning Star ranks, led by 13 commanders called Moons, each with one shadow. And as he trembles against a wall, he admits he has just witnessed a legend, because Lu alone commands 3 complete shadows, confessing that Lu's original target may have been the destruction of his entire family, which is why he sacrificed his brother to avoid a massacre. And the scene returns to Lu, who decides he no longer needs anything from the market but deliberately scared Jiu so word would spread, knowing others will be deeply impressed that even the Chu family feared him, proving his overwhelming strength. And then someone calls out to Lu, informing him that the market leader wishes to meet him, which he accepts as he is guided forward, while Shu asks to come along, and everyone in the market whispers about Lu, calling him mysterious and terrifying, even giving him the nickname Yellow King because of his yellow robe, agreeing it suits him well, until Lu arrives at a palace entrance where guards tell him the leader awaits inside. And as he enters, he notices someone staring at him intensely as if examining him, realizing that a Morning Star rank individual is inspecting him, so he immediately activates his time shield, forming a protective aura around himself mixed with dark energy, and a clock appears on his arm releasing an insect-like construct whose gaze locks onto everyone, causing the clock to expand and unleash powerful energy at the examiner, leaving the man clutching his head in shock as his sense of time collapses, the dark aura overwhelming him, so he understands he cannot escape the incoming attack, coughing up blood as his subordinate panics and enlarges his body with power, demanding how Lu dared attack his lord, preparing to strike, but the master calls out sharply, ordering him to stop, and the subordinate obeys, after which the master properly greets Lu and introduces himself as Lee from the Special Forces. So friend, if you enjoy this epic manhwa and want next chapter, so don't forget to like the video and subscribe the channel now.